to understand how the AI and the blockchain is evolving in the latest technology across the world. I'll just pass on to my friend speaker. So he'll just give you with a brief introduction.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Subba. So this is Prasad. I work for Salesforce as a principal engineer. I've been in the industry for the last 18 years. I've worked with various domains, from the cybersecurity to say CRM, and now I'm working actually on the AI industry, where the agentic and artificial intelligence is ruling the industry, and reaching every corner of the world in all the disciplines. So thank you for having us today. We're really excited to be share our knowledge and expertise. Hope that will help you to go back and look at the industry in a different perspective after today's session. So with that, I request Subba to share the session, and I will be going through a couple of slides, and feel free to stop us if you have any questions at any point of time. We'll make it as a more interactive session, and we will try to put these 40-50 minutes as active as possible to have great conversations here.
Okay, let me go ahead, share my screen. You guys can see our screen?
Is the screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Visible, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, we want to cover the shortest shortest presentation. We want to go like what is the background and the motivation, and what are the limitations of the current methodologies we have, and how we resolve those, and what is blockchain system, and what are the real world cases and little benefits and metrics and evaluations. So first, let me start with like how this system is going on, like how many days, like past many years, like we have like online shopping has been grown like tremendous. We have been doing online shopping. Nowadays, we are not going to any retail stores. The major, the online shopping has been very proactively using is during the COVID-19 time. Like we were restricted to home level, and we started a lot of online transactions and doing. Nowadays, the retail chains that's the foundation which started back in 6-7 years back. Now the retail chains has started to, e-commerce is the primary source for doing online shopping, and we get like a faster shipping and convenience. Where you get the benefits, there you get the problems also, the challenges. That's where it comes in e-commerce fraud, which has been surged a lot of loss from 2023 onwards, where identity theft, like schemes to trick the users to scam the websites. And you might have been seeing a lot of websites has been scammed, and users' identity has been theft, and your credit card has been theft by somebody, and it was used somebody limitations. Why? Because we have limitations of the traditional methods where e-commerce was not so advanced methods. Where you have rule-based systems like brittle, you have a high false positives. Like statistical models, we have a linear assumptions and poor generalization, which cannot be used in a regular traditional method with an advanced systems we have in the current process. Where the manual reviews, like we still have manual reviews, some companies still have manual reviews, where the millions of daily transactions, they're going to cross-verify the data, and then it's handling the too much volume of the data is also in a old traditional way, which has some limitations. Now, how we are going to use this, like how we are going to resolve this, like a platform which we suggest is which employs the deep learning methods with a blockchain and the biometric tools for a robust approach. I mean, nowadays, if you go to the online, if you try to do some shopping, and the way how the biometric authentication, whereas like you have multiple ways, like where your fingerprint, touch ID, and the facial recognition. You have like a behavioral biometrics where keystroke dynamics, like how much time a person would take, if you take to the time to open the website and how much time it's taking to log in the websites and how much time he's gonna type his credentials. Basically like you have an authentication and you have authorization, where these are the key points when a person try to access his website or the credentials, anything, any banking site or in your online shopping site. So these are the main credentials which you pass to the system, and that's going to work. That's a regular method. So where the biometric will help you, the fingerprint, and you'd have your touch ID, and you'll have a facial recognition. Nowadays, you get an Apple phones and iPhones, you get a facial recognition, which helps you to access your, you don't need to type anything. You can just access your banks, your credentials, even your online e-commerce websites. With that, I'll take a brief break, and then I'll let Prasad talk on the AI interference. So how the AI is going to help you on the more detailed level.
Okay, thanks, Subba. It's a great introduction. I will take a little pause here, and if anyone has any questions so far, please feel free to raise the questions. We are happy to answer. Let me know if you have any questions. If no questions, then we'll move to the next other discussions. Okay, so let's take a one step back. When Subba said after COVID, the online business is picked up. There is billions of transactions happening online. When business is growing tangentially, and also the threats are also growing. So now, if you listen everywhere, what is the online fraudulent transactions? How personal information is stolen, and used against the humans, and also how much losses that the business are making because of these transactions. So now, what is the solution for this? So currently, the traditional methods that are used to prevent these fraudulent transactions are limited. The reason is they're all rule-based, and also it's not scoped well or the scalable for the growing transactions and growing interactions and technology. So when AI, after introduction of AI in every field, so when business is growing, at the same time the attackers or the people who are misusing the technology are also equipped with so many technologies to break the system and get the information and use against the human beings. So rule-based systems, let's take a financial transaction. If you go to a bank, when you do a transaction, you will see sometimes, unexpectedly, let's say you are withdrawing, let's say, like $5,000 in one day. So generally what happens, my usual transactions are not like that. I may be withdrawing $100, $200, $500 like that. One fine day I withdraw $1,000. Then there is a rule written behind the back end. If more than $1,000 or equal to $1,000 or transactions happen, raise a alert to the person, and block the system until the activation is authenticated. So these are all the rule-based. But the rule-based will not. When rule-based are in place, the attackers are so very intelligent. They're very, very dynamic, and they're crafting the system. They're crafting the attacks such that they learn all these techniques. When they learned all the techniques, they will come up with the different solutions or different attacks to other than what the protected system we have right now. So for this, what is needed? To solve this problem, we need a big system, because number of transactions are growing and a number of complexity of the identifying the threats is also growing. So for example, if you say in one day there is a million transactions happen, the existing system if it rule-based system detects, like a 10% of the transactions are fraudulent, in the 10% transactions, so one important point we need to understand here is, if the 10% are really fraudulent transactions, or any genuine transactions in the 10% are marked as a fraudulent. So in these scenarios, when you prevent the genuine customers, assuming that is a fraudulent transaction, that is a business headaches, and also there is a loss of revenue, and the customer satisfaction will be reduced. So now the challenging factor for the technologies or the systems is, we need to minimize the false positives, where a real transaction is marked as a fraudulent. At the same time, we need to prevent the fraudulent transactions to maximum extent. So for this, we need a large computing system, and also we need to minimize the number of fraudulent alerts. We need to be more careful. We need to analyze a transaction in a more different way, like more than 1,000 characteristics of the transaction you need to analyze, so that you can be very, very clear about a particular transaction is fraudulent or not. So for that, you need a large computing system, and also a large intelligence system, where AI is the only alternative for that. Now, how AI helps us? So with the growing technology, so with AI, so you can analyze a transaction in many possible ways to identify what exactly happening in that particular transaction. So for that, the AI is the only alternative. So AI can process billions of transactions, and it can identify the patterns which is causing, which can be a fraudulent, and in that it can rank the transactions with medium risk, high risk, and low risk, and it can focus mainly on the high and the medium risk transactions and transactions. So of course, AI can do that. AI can only process so many transactions and identify what are the fraudulent. But the ultimate goal is not only identifying the fraudulent transactions, but also to minimize the false positives, which is a very crucial point of aspect of the business. So for that, that all the LLMs or the large language models always hallucinates. It's not 100% predictive, because it's not a deterministic. It is more non-deterministic system. So it is trained on the huge data and the internet. So there is always hallucination, and false positives can happen. So for that, we need, once you have categorized the transactions into low, high, medium risk transactions, we need some other supporting system to make more advanced analysis and deep analysis on top of these transactions, and find out which are actually fraudulent. So in that case, the biometric system come into handy. So how it will help? Biometric and the organic systems, how they will help us. For example, let us assume a regular customer doing a transaction, log into the bank and transferring some funds to funds. In a regular way, it will take 2 to 3 minutes for each transaction. So now, because of the deep learning system and the artificial intelligence, we have a lot of computing knowledge. Is there any question there? Any question?
Yes.
Okay. So now AI has a lot of computing knowledge. So what happens in this scenario is, if a user is taking usually like 3 or 4 minutes to complete a transaction, one fine day a user logged in and the transaction is completed within 1 minute. So now that raises an alert. So the AI has the capabilities to capture the entire context basing on the user profile. So it has all the details about how long the user is taking, what is the typing patterns, what are the navigation patterns. They have a blueprint about the user. Now, a attacker somehow managed to manage the authentication. He logged into his account. He's trying to generally attackers, when they will get the details, login details, and they will try to finish the transaction quickly so that the alerting system will come in, prevent that. So now what happened is user will do usually 5 minutes or 3 minutes. Now attacker is finished the transaction in 30 seconds or 1 minute. So that is a fraudulent transaction, right? So now system will capture those kind of things in a huge transactions. For that, this has a lot of computing power. Now once this happens, now the biometric come into the picture. So it will identify those transactions in the different categories. Then to do more deeper analysis. So it could be the biometric system come into the picture where the fingerprints or facial recognition and the location and these kind of checks will be happen after this. So that is how biometric and AI together will complement each other and go to the deeper level to identify a transaction is a fraudulent or not, to minimize the false positives. So in this regard, I will pass this to Subba, who will be talking about how the blockchain will come into handy in combination with the deep learning and the biometric. Subba, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Prasad. It was a good discussion. So coming to the blockchain, so before we jump into the blockchain, do you guys have any questions so far? We want to make it interactive, guys. Like, I don't want everyone to be on the silent mode. Feel free to stop us and ask some questions. Okay, I'll take that as a silence. No worries. Okay, I'll keep it the question and sessions in the last. Yeah. Okay, we'll take the blockchain transactionability, where how the digital signature is going to help and AI interference we're going to use, how the user metadata is saved in a decentralized ledger. So let me give you like how this blockchain system works. The blockchain system is basically which helps, like whenever a person is requesting a transaction, it's going to work with a block is going to create a transaction there, and the block is set to every node in the network. So wherever the network's nodes going to be available, then those nodes is going to validate the transaction, and nodes will receive the reward for the proof of work. Whereas a block is added to the existing blockchain, and that's where the transaction is getting complete. So if you see what's the challenge and the current traditional system and the blockchain system has, like every blocks is connected with a hash value. Like whenever these are interlinked. When I say interlinked, the blocks are connected to the chain system. So if someone want to change anything, the data, they have to reverse the existing block, and then only they can initiate the new blockchain system. So that kind of secured and transaction based, it's a decentralized one. When I say decentralized, I'll make it simple for you guys. It's like it has no control on this. Like everybody has the control, and everybody can access through the nodes. Whatever the node is available, it can be available. If you take here the current flow, what I'm showing here in the blockchain, like it interacts with the network first, and if from the network it's going to build the transaction, and it's going to read the crypto, it's going to be mining, it's going to be verified. Like nowadays, I'll give you a simple example, like a Bitcoin. Like everybody uses whoever across the world, like they are so crazy about the Bitcoin, how the Bitcoin works. And a person named called Jack and a person named called Alex, like he want to transfer a 20 Bitcoins to one person to another person. So how it works is like here we have two nodes, like where the Bitcoin blockchain network will be there. And in this, Jack is going to request the transaction, where it's going to help Alex is going to receive a request. Then it goes to the network nodes, where the verification will be done, like whether the nodes are there exist, and that nodes is going to talk to the blocks. And these blocks will create a new hash mechanism, and the validation will be happened in those blocks. When I say validation, like That's the other person who has those Bitcoins in his account. When that validation is there are a set of rules which call like Bitcoin protocols. So they're going to write those rules like within the network, how it's going to help. It's going to validate authentication and authorization, where it's going to validate those nodes, and it's going to transfer to the with a group of networks. So again, here you have a separate we have a public domain, and we have a private domain, and we have a hybrid domain. There are certain types. Where public is like you can tie up with the multiple organizations and they can maintain a blockchain network. Whereas a private is you want to stick to only one organization. They want to keep the nodes within the organization. They don't want to expose this network to the across the public. Where a hybrid is like a semi-transparent, like partially is a public and partially will be private. Like only a partial data is exposed to the public end of the data. So these are various types of blockchains. If we go to the next, we have some use case studies where how this is going to be help in the real time. I'll pass on to Prasad on his use case. Then I will be covering on the blockchain, how it is used in the healthcare.
Okay, so any questions so far? I know we are going a little fast. Let us know if you have any questions. I'm very happy to address.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah.
I have a question, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, sir, Sheik.
Sir, Bitcoin is a kind of reliable investment. The first question is. The second question is there any regulatory body to control the transaction of the Bitcoin investment and all? And my third question is, why some countries, in that case, why some countries, they don't recognize Bitcoin as a regular investment system? Just my three questions, sir.
Okay, this is off the topic, but we'll try to address this. If Sheik, it's okay.
Yes, I'm purely from business and management side.
Definitely, yeah. It has its own regulations. Not every country is ready to implement that network. I'll make it simple here. So where Bitcoin is it's one kind of platform where system. You're buying some money in the coins like Bitcoins, and you're transferring that to one person. And only it can be accessed with the wallet. If that wallet is lost, then you can never retrieve that. Okay. There's no retrieval mechanism. So that's the one. If I have a use case, an example, in the olden days, couple of years back, like a person who stored his Bitcoin in a wallet and he forgot the password for the wallet. Mm-hmm. He couldn't retrieve it, and he lost that money. So it's not that a secured way where across all the countries can implement this and the transaction level and the system. What the Bitcoin investment, it's going crazy. Like people are buying the cryptocurrency, and if you see in entire US and across the world, the crypto is leading the market.
Right.
You see, everybody is investing, and that's what going the market. So we came from digitalization. First, we used to do a cash management. And then now we went to a Paytm and UPI. And now the next level is we're going to trade in the Bitcoins. So there are some cryptocurrencies. A lot of US is also encouraging. Even the US government is encouraging to invest in the crypto.
For UPI and other things, there are some regulatory bodies, right, sir, to control?
Yes, UPI and the regulatory bodies. And this Bitcoin is across the globe. There's no country or no one owns the regulatories. So US has been an advanced level, so they own the little regulatories here, but not all the countries feeling comfortable and about the regulations and getting the approvals. There are a lot of factors, various factors.
Okay. So why all the countries are not allowing means, see, if any new currency in the market, we need to have a proper system where we are tracking the transactions. There is a lot of implications on the financial, right? So the taxation system will be there, and the regulatory compliance is there. So some countries are not yet ready for that, and that is the reason why only it's not valid in all the countries other currency. So it may be a matter of time or acceptance.
Governments also has to support those regulatories, right?
Right, sir.
Who is taking the responsibility? And a centralized system has to be there. If Bitcoin is just a platform which is tradable in the currencies, like earlier we used to trade in olden days, if you trade like based on their work, like you give some whatever. If I build an art, I'm going to give that to a trader, and he's going to give some kind of work what he did. So there is a mechanism like you trade the business like that way. The cash came, and after that we are in digitalization. Like you just transfer your money, UPI, Paytm. That now the Bitcoin also soon it will be coming in future. But yeah, it will take some time because a lot of bodies are. Organizing bodies like regulatory bodies are there, so it's going to be future, but it will take some time. Hope I answered you that question.
Yeah, what I understood from our conversation, if I'm wrong, please correct me. In a nutshell, at the current scenario, it is not the safest. I mean, there is no regulatory body at the moment.
At the moment, yeah. It's still, I mean, people are trusting the Bitcoin and people have started doing it. I mean, first the Paytm and UPI, is anybody suggested that? I mean, slowly you start using it.
But that one, even digital transaction, digital economy, even government is, encouraging to the digital.
That's what someone has to push that, right? Since Modi has been pushed that, tomorrow onwards we are going to use only Paytm and all digital India. That's where it started. People started using that. That push has to come. If let's say US government started only accepting through Bitcoins, then what, people will adapt that using it.
Right. You are right.
That kind of awareness has to come in the world.
Understand, sir. Yeah. Please go ahead, sir. Thank you.
I'll pass on to some real world case studies where Prasad is covering on the real-time risk scoring, how it's going to work, and I'll be covering on the healthcare part.
Okay. So now we have seen why the combination of AI, biometric, and the blockchain, some technologies are needed to prevent the frauds happening 100% or the maximum extent. Let's take an example. Strip is a company which supports online payment system. They have a problem, so they are dealing with millions of transactions, and their transaction time is, by the time when user reaches a page where click the purchase button and the transaction completes, so it takes only 100 milliseconds. So within this 100 milliseconds, they have to identify, authenticate, and prove that the transaction is genuine or real or not fraudulent. So for all these one, they have 100 milliseconds to react time. So now original systems, which are the rule based, are human in reviews. So they're all not scaled to handle these kind of transactions. So that is the one thing. The second one is they need a huge system which is more intelligent than the existing rule-based systems. And second point here is, even if the existing systems are the linear mathematical based learnings, non-supervised learning systems. The problem with that is they will depend on the label system. That means they are trained on a simple set. Let us say 100 types of transactions, fraudulent transactions, are the training data for the existing system. If a 101 transaction comes which is different than this 100, the system will fail. So that will either that is a fraudulent transaction or not the capability of the existing system to detect. So for that, they have to come up with a different system, and it should be scalable and also more accurate in that domain. So now let us assume in a billion transactions, a million transactions happen. So 1% is transactions are marked as a fraudulent. So in a regular analysis and the statistical analysis, it is found that only 0.1% of the transactions are fraudulent in a real system. Now imagine in a million transactions, when the existing system, which is not capable of, which is not scalable a lot, it can categorize a 10% or let's say 1% of the transactions as fraudulent, which is false positives. The 1% of a million transactions is going to be huge in the financial losses for the companies. So as a manager, your task is to prevent these false positives, to reduce the losses and also the customer satisfaction. Here, the customer satisfaction is very important because in the 1% of fraudulent transactions, if a customer is a genuine, he is, he was troubled, regular transactions as a fraudulent, and he was asked to go through so many authentication layers. Definitely, there will be frustration, and the customer will not come back to the same business. So that is the second one. Third one is even though is this 1% transactions are fraudulent, false positives, so we need to cut down that to a 0.1, which is the actual transactions, actual percentage of the fraudulent threats happening in the system. So for that, they need a system which is a more capable, scalable, and more intelligent. And on top of that, it has to be every time the fraudulent the attackers are coming with different techniques. So every time the model what they're using has to be scalable and has to be trained internally. So the model has to be hosted internally, and periodically the model has to be trained to be more intelligent, because LLMs are not intelligent by default. LLMs will learn what you are teaching to them, and they will become a intelligent system. So all this comes under a massive investment prone system we need to develop. So all the businesses cannot afford that. So that is one limitation in this domain. But in coming to the strip platform, so they have this problem. They have 100 milliseconds as a window to detect a transaction as a fraudulent or not. In that, they have to do all these checks and balances keep in place. So for that, the more advanced AI system is the only option for them to do that. So after implementing this AI system in support with the biometric and the blockchain system, so their business is tremendously improved. And I can provide the link to their website, the blog post, where they publish the more like detailed statistics on what are their achievements in this. So that proves that a AI system with the support of biometric and blockchain or any secure network system is required for to stop financial, particularly in the financial sector, the like a fraudulent transactions. At the same time, another important necessity for the AI system is without using the AI, the business cannot be grown in the current system. Everywhere the agentic system is going everywhere. It is replacing so many repetitive tasks. So in that scenario, the system is also prone to the attackers. Like prompt injection is becoming the more and more like prominent in that in the industry, where attackers are using the prompt as a well-crafted prompt as a source for entering into the system and getting the required information using against the system. So to prevent all this, a holistic approach for the is needed. As a manager, it's your responsibility to make sure those systems will be acquired and keep in place to protect the business and the interest of the business. Okay, so I will provide the links in the next slide. You can browse that link and take a quick look and see how they build the system and it is helping for them. So with that, I will pass it to Subba for next use case.
Thanks, Prasad. It was very good conversation we had. So yeah, I primarily work into the healthcare. So that's where I want to see how the blockchain, I want to explain like you guys like how the blockchain is going to help in the healthcare system. So where you have like nowadays in the healthcare, like a lot of billions of the hospital data and the patient data and the information like insurance premiums and these all the information is going to be stored in the healthcare systems, like where EHR data, like patient clinical data, so even pharmaceutical medical devices. So these all primarily they need to store the data. So where the blockchain will help us here is to detect the insurance claim forward, frauds, identity thefts, and the patient impersonalities. Like, and let's take in the insurance claims, the beneficiary details going to be changed, and they're going to try to claim the insurance data. So all kind of frauds evaluation to prevent that. So there are some ways to implement this. So it's like abnormal billing you have and the claims detections you have, where the blockchain will help you to prevent the duplicates and manipulating the data. And you'll have like a smart contracts like validations, and you'll have like faster settlements where you have the transaction is secured and it's going to be connected between the nodes, and the transaction validation will go through the protocols. If you see here, like the main industry is to make sure the origin of the medical goods conform to the authenticity, like where it came, what is the expiry date, and from where it got started, how it has been gone through the manufacturing of the medicines. See, the blockchain, the supply chain system, it helps the entire manufacturing and how the supply has been gone through into the phases. The blockchain-based supply chain transparency system is going to help you to track that where this medicine has been origined and how it has been transferred from the pharmaceutical to the your pharmacies, how that has been done. Similarly, if you see here the leading example where healthcare is like MediLedger, it maintains the medicine expiry dates and when it has been prescribed and who is the patient it has been. So providing all this data, it's going to be, here we have like a HIPAA authorizations, like it's a Healthcare Privacy Act, which helps us to secure the patient's data, wherein it is the top priority for the healthcare industry to monitor the patient's information, patient's health, and how the drugs has been transferred to one person to another person, even the organization, companies, how it's going to be moved. And I'll just take a quick case study of Estonia, where they implemented the blockchain for the healthcare system. Earlier, like in 2016, Estonia became the first country to digitize their health records up to 99% by using blockchain systems, where they have been used here like a keyless signature infrastructure that helps you to make the records impeccable. Like when I say impeccable, it's like they cannot manipulate those health records because it's relevant to the blockchain, like it's connected with the blocks. If they want to modify any block, then they have to change the link in the start. And if you have 10 blocks, then if they want to change any of the information of the patient data, then they have to go and start the interlink, and it's going to generate a new hash value. That's where the hash key mechanism has been used. If you see here, like it uses a blockchain hash-linked timestamping process when it got started, and it's going to be public and private sector based on the organization, what they have implemented. And the reason for using the like keyless signature infrastructure is like the use of hash function is a cryptography, which helps you to validate the records rather than depending on the centralized trust, like you access from the systems. Here, this blockchain is interconnected, and if you want to modify or anything, manipulate the data, you cannot. because it has a hash key. If any of the hash mechanism has been changed, then you have to reverse that initial order, and then only you can start the new order on that. So it's impeccable. It's like you cannot manipulate or change the data, and it's secured, and it's decentralized. Like it can be accessible by the organizations. That's where it's secured system. It's used. People started using the blockchain here in the US systems, but yeah, there are a lot of benefits if you see. Just coming like a reduced account taker, like biometric lives will help you to check your identity application using the blocks. When somebody stolen your credentials or anything by fraudsters, nowadays the fraud has been gone to the peak level. Like even with the basic information, they open a credit cards on your account. Compared to like India, like US has been more affected by fraudsters. Like a lot of people call and they say like, we'll give you information. They try to get the information. That's called identity theft, we call, where they take your information and they try to open a credit cards on your name and open a bank account on your name. So nowadays, these all fraud scams has been drastically increased when we started using online as our daily lives. If starting from day, we just buy stuff in the online, like everything, nothing. You see Amazon, we go to Amazon, Flipkart, there are a lot of Walmarts you have. In India, everywhere we started online. So that the authentication has to be there, like system detects the sessions, and if any transaction has been manipulated, how the user trusts with the transaction website, prevention and detection in smart contracts, like catching those rules, because blockchain has those protocols which helps you to handle the evolving the fraud streams, and you have a governance which monitors the data retention and audit trails. Like possibly without disclosing the user identity, you can track those details. Pretty much, I think we just covered mostly. So I'll just leave conclusion to Prasad, and we can just have question and answers next.
Okay, yes. So basing on this, so what we learned in these few minutes is, to keep a system which is scalable and also against to prevent any attacks, we need a fusion of deep learning and biometric and a blockchain, a similar technology systems in place to make sure the system is scalable, system is accurate, and also customer interest is protected. And also another important point in this is there is always a false cases will come into the picture, but the broader system will do a lot of analytics on top of that, and user has to be convinced. For example, by mistake, a real user has been identified as a fraudulent transaction. Okay, then user definitely gets annoyed. You'll be more regular activities. So to convince that user, we need to provide a detailed reasoning and why this transaction is categorized as a fraudulent transaction, and the entire trace about the system and why the system, the financial institution thought that it is a fraudulent. So this kind of clear analysis, if you can get back to the user, you can still win the trust of the user, saying that we need to prove that all these are done as to prevent the interests of the customer. So the analytics will play a vital role on top of this system. So for this, you need a large computing and also huge information in place, and the traceability of the transactions is very important in a government to meet the government compliances. So all these to keep in a place, the fusion of AI, biometric, and the blockchain system will be a right solution for that. So with that, we'll conclude our session, and we'll go to the Q&A. So we are happy to answer any questions you have. We have a few more minutes. Feel free to chime in and ask questions for this. Looks like it's a silent. So either you understood everything or you haven't understood anything.
Sir, good morning again from Dr. Sheik, the TSM, Terrace Club Management. Hello,
Yeah.
audible, sir?
Please go ahead. We can hear you, Sheik.
Yes. What I understood from this session, really it was a informative and insightful session. Thanks for that. Thanks for this session. And I hope in future, with the use of blockchain and AI and other technologies, the fraudulent cases will be reduced, or even we can say it's completely removed with the help of blockchain and AI technology. I hope so. So is the right, like still some fraudulent cases are happening around the world, right, sir? Even though we started using these technologies, but still kind of some fraudulent transaction through banks and other things, online transaction, fraudulent cases are happening then and there.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good question. Does this technology is growing? We have a latest technology now in hand. Latest system is in place. Okay, we are going to the next world, like quantum computing. Can this prevent all these 100%? Definitely no.
Okay. Definitely no.
Definitely no.
Yeah.
So
because the hackers are very smarter than technologies.
Exactly. Imagine that a financial institution is getting all these technologies in place. This is not limited to only financial institutions. It is available for the hackers. It's available for the people who try to misuse the system. So they have to come back with better system, better logic, and better ways to break the system. So what we need to make sure is it should not be easily exposed. Okay, and even in case of exposed, we need to minimize the risk of happening this. So all the systems, all the support, all this ecosystem is built to minimize the risk. 100% preventing that, I don't think it is. I wish it should happen, but I doubt it.
Okay.
That could be an ideal situation.
Okay, which means we can minimize the rate of risk, not completely remove.
As a manager, when you become a manager in a financial institution, and any institution, not necessarily financial institution, we are taking financial institution because we have our use cases, but the fraud or the abuse of the system can happen in any industry, right? So when you're a manager, your task is to minimize the risk, and how you can prevent or protect interest of your customers using the technology. Right technology in place is the question what we're trying to address.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, anybody from the students, like you guys want to talk us, like how this AI is going to help you guys for your future? Feel free to ask any questions, like it helps you in your future. We're just here to help you. We just came from India only. So I did my master's in PhD Tech. So I came like you only. So feel free to ask like how your future is going to be there and how it's going to be helpful. Any questions from audience?
Looks like you are shy to ask questions. You don't have to be.
Come on. Is it engineering college or a management? Management guys are proactive, right? Sheik, I see like everybody is silent.
Yeah. So you can share, sir, how it's going to help for the students in their future career or their studies. There's a few points about this, exclusively for study and career guidance.
Yeah. So nowadays the technology is growing a huge. I mean, India is also improving a lot compared to India. US is one level advanced. So if any technology first invented, they just start here, and then it's going to adapt to the other countries. So that means one step ahead, they started implementing all this. Look, nowadays, if you see the blockchain, AI, and even any company you go, definitely you'll have an AI opportunity there. And if you are improving your skills towards that area, like learn some basics like management side, like whatever, how you implement the AI stuff in your area of expertise. Let's take you're going in a financial management. You should understand like how this technology is going to help. You might be in some as a more finance advisor, finance analyst, or even implementing like financial solution manager like that. Any management job would require these basics, these fundamentals to understand like how you can implement and what are the current challenges, how we can resolve this. So these are like let's take for finance side and people who want to go a healthcare side. Even India has started using this blockchain and they want to secure the full patient data and make sure that the data is secured. And this, when you are having nowadays data is a huge, like we have a huge data, and how this data can be read. It can be either used for machine learning techniques, like using like a clustering mechanism, like you have LLMs used to train the models. Even we started in our workplaces, a lot of companies nowadays, they've started using the AI. Like you just type one question, the AI is going to return that. Same as like ChatGPT. All the companies has been started building the bots, like agents. Where let's take, you want to see some data. I want to see like last, how is my sales doing in last 10 years. You just type that question, the data is going to prep that everything, and it's going to show the data in your prompts. Like that's where the bot's going to help you. The background work is like when you prep the data, and these machine learnings categorize the data in different lines, like different buckets. Like you have the clustering mechanisms, and you have split those data, and then train those models in using that bots. It's going to help us to retrieve the data and give to the user. I see Bala has right, like how can I start learning the blockchain? There are a number of websites you can start learning as a beginner. So take some projects. I'm not sure, you guys can access the Udemy website. So if you go there, there are some basic projects you can buy for $10, which would be probably 800 rupees. You get some free articles in the YouTube also, where how you can implement the blockchain. You just need to take some projects which are available. Nowadays, the data is available publicly everywhere. You can just download the data, like a projects, open source projects, get some data, open source data, and try to implement your with using Python. You can implement those all mechanisms using that, and it will be helpful for you to practice on yourself. Unless you get some, say whatever we gave is like a theoretical approach, how you can implement. But if you have more interest, you can start getting the open source projects and download those projects. You have those step-by-steps. I can share some links in this. Probably I don't have it handy now, but I can share with your Sheik sir. So he will be able to share some open source projects which you can access and you can build yourself.
I think Soundarya madam is trying to ask some question.
Yeah, let me start presenting so that I can see chat window. Let's see. Can you open the chat window? Probably here. Oh, here. So.
Soundarya madam?
Yeah.
Do you want to ask any question?
Just said, can I? I don't see anything. Question there. No, just that was pretty much basic question. In presence of the time, like if anybody has don't no questions, yeah, we are available. You can.
Take notes.
Can I know, sir, how I can take the notes from the blockchain? We'll be sharing this presentation with you guys. So Sheikh sir will be sending an email to Sheikh sir so he can share with this presentation with you guys. We'll try to add some open source projects there, which you can download and practice by yourself. Or there are a lot of information, so we're going to share with you guys.
Please, sir, you can share me the presentation slides as well as the useful links regarding the blockchain and AI technology.
Definitely, we're going to do that. Thank you, Chitra ma'am, for giving an opportunity, and Sheikh sir for arranging this. Hope we are helpful for everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for your wonderful session. I thank one and all for joining with us today. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Have a great weekend.
Have a great week.
Thank you all. Thank you, sir. May I conclude the session, sir?
Yeah, please.
Once again?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Respected dignitaries, speakers, faculty members, and dear participants. On behalf of the Reader Society of Thiagarajar School of Management, I extend my sincere thanks to everyone who contributed to the success of this international one-day workshop on management perspectives on AI, blockchain, and biometric integration for fraud prevention. I express my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speakers, Mr. Subba Rao Katragadda and Mr. Prasad Maderamitla, for sharing their valuable insights and real-world experiences which greatly enriched today's session. My sincere thanks to SKRGC Academy for the continued association and support. I also thank our organizing head, Dr. A. Sheik Maideen, for his guidance and leadership in organizing this workshop. I extend my appreciation to all faculty members, coordinators, and participants for the active involvement and enthusiasm which made this event truly meaningful. Once again, thank you all for your presence and cooperation. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you
Thank you,
all.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last but not least, I also thank our founder, Dr. M. Satish Kumar sir, for this wonderful session and event. Thank you so much, sir.